Hey, old Plattman here. You like my shirt? Video games are calling. Yeah. So I'm at a hotel. Yay, nice and organized. It's been a while. As per YouTube, it's been 6 months. So that's fun. And apparently, I broke over 100 views on one video, which is kind of amazing. Ironically, that video is about one of the most popular movies of last year. So fun times. Um, uh, and I do want to do a video talking about catching up and what's going on and so on and so forth. Um, and I will probably make it right after this. So there will literally will be no change of whatever. Maybe I'll take my hat off. Oh, but no. Instead, I wanted to talk about two movies that I recently saw, and I was like super hooked on it, and so I wanted to like talk to you guys about it. The first one being 28 Years Later. Now, hopefully you've seen 28 Days Later. Weirdly enough, I wanted to watch it in theaters, but now my son, who's almost a year old, I want to see 28 years later. I want to see it in theaters. But now my son's a year old. It's kind of hard to watch anything other than like a kid movie in theaters. It's not impossible. It's definitely doable. It's like that interesting. Anyone who has a kid understands that there's that like, well, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? And like ultimately, at least for me, it always boils down to like time with my child and time with my wife is like priority, and then there's me time, which my wife would argue I prioritize that over time with her, and she would not be wrong. So I love you, babe. I acknowledge it. I need to fix it. You're correct in being annoying. Anyhow, so on to the thing. So two movies. One is 28 Years Later. So for those of you who haven't seen, 28 Days Later is basically this guy. He had a bicycle accident. He's in Britain. And he's in the hospital, and then a zombie apocalypse happens in Britain, and then he wakes up 28 years later, and he's very skinny, and it's younger rather, Cillian Murphy, I don't know how you pronounce his name. He's the guy who did, oh my gosh, A Bleak Midwinter, Peaky Blinders. The main guy from Peaky Blinders, he plays Scarecrow in Dark Knight, very awesome. Very well-known actor now. He was Oppenheimer in Oppenheimer. So everyone knows him now. But way back 28 years ago, he was a nobody. So this was like a little indie hit, and it was very successful, very popular. I don't even know how popular it was. Sorry, I'm just kind of curious. I'm like, it was very popular at its time. Sorry, I'm just kind of curious. I'm looking at IMDb. It came out in, for those of you who don't know, 2002, so a minute ago. Anyhow, very interesting movie. I re-saw it to be prepared to watch 28 Years Later, right? And I was like, okay, cool, super awesome. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out how successful it was. It's so weird when I'm used to looking at things on my phone versus looking at things on the computer, and it's different. So yeah, the budget was $8 million. Opening weekend in US and Canada was 10 million, and it made worldwide 74 million. So no matter how you slice it, it made money. The caveat is they did like a sequel a few years later because Hollywood's gonna do that, and that was garbage. And it didn't have any of the original people in it, and it was kind of this. They almost tried to do what like Alien did, where it went Alien and then Alien, so more actiony, but they didn't have the chutzpah that had. So anyways, so interestingly enough, 28 years later, the original director came and made a movie called 28 Years Later, which is, unfortunately didn't have Cillian Murphy in, but it was 28 years later, it was in the world, and it kind of delved into certain stuff. And so I saw it, and the effectiveness of it is it's basically a journey story where you have this young boy and he's trying to get from point. I'm trying not to spoil too much because it just came out like 6 months ago or half a year, whatever. 6 months, half a year ago, 6 of one, half dozen the other. Anyway, I'm joking. So like he's going on this journey and he runs into obstacles along the way and he kind of has to overcome stuff. And in a weird way, he is kind of thrust into growing up, whereas he was like very protected and whatever. And now he's not. And now he's kind of, okay, I'm doing this thing, whatever. So, in general, I like the story. I almost felt like it would have made for a better, like, TV show, but that's kind of the way of the world now. But I thought it was very well made. What was weird to me, though, is, like, I felt like it was super expensive based on what it was. So, 28 years later, came out in 2025, and, like, if I remember correctly, it was not cheap. So it was like 60 million. So I guess for Hollywood standards, that's fine. But keep in mind, the first one cost 8 million. And granted, inflation in 28 years, but they definitely, it cost more money. And while there was some really awesome set pieces and awesome stuff, it just didn't really feel like it should have cost that much, but that's okay. And it didn't really make a ton of money. Its worldwide gross was like 151 million. So anyone who's looking at the math, they're like, so it didn't really make money, objectively speaking, because you have to take the cost of 60 million, add half of that, so 90 million, and then you have to take how much it made, 151 million, and cut that in half. So we're talking about 75 million. So they lost 30 mil, 40 mil minimally. Okay. So in general, I liked it though. And I was like, okay, cool. Well done. Good job. Interesting story. And then what was interesting is there was a character introduced played by Ralph Fiennes in the movie 28 years later. And he's like a supporting role, kind of like if you were playing a video game and you like run across a character. And that character was so interesting. And what's fascinating to me, and I don't know the ins and outs of it, but they made a whole other movie including him, and it did include the original main guy. So it's almost like they made a part 1 and part 2, okay? And so the second one is called 28 Years Later, Bone Temple. So very much like, oh, this isn't still in the same world, same timeline, everything's the same, because there are characters that are introduced, and it's that Bone Temple takes that one character, and they make a whole movie kind of featuring him, and going into some other stuff. And honestly, really what these two movies do is it's like, I want to say it's two people storyline. So the 28 years later is the kid, and then Bone Temple is this doctor. And so they're each in each other's story, and then it flips, and Bone Temple is the doctor's story, and then the kid's in his story. And frankly, you have to watch both. Like, you just have to watch both. I would argue Bone Temple is a better story. It's kind of weird that effectively it's like, when you combine them together, it's 4 plus almost 5 hours, but it works. And even though it's a slow burn, I wasn't bored. I wasn't tired. I was like totally interested, totally into it. And I have to say, in today's day and age, that's not an easy feat. I mean, we're all kind of lazy and just like, oh, I want like quick results. But this had me entranced, both of them. More Bone Temple and more Ralph Fiennes' character, because he's such a terrific actor. If you don't know, he's the guy who played Voldemort in the Harry Potter and many, many other things. I guarantee you've seen him in something. He's one of those top tier actors that never seems to like strive for grade A status, but always is this just epic level. Like, he's just amazing. He's amazing. And anyhow, so my point, simply put, is, ramble over, is like, watch both these movies. I would suggest watching 28 Days Later, just so you understand. And then I would suggest skip the 28 Weeks Later. You don't need to watch that. That's garbage. And then what I would suggest is, so watch 28 Days Later, skip 28 Weeks Later, and then watch 28 Years Later and watch Bone Temple, 28 Years Later, Bone Temple. They're well worth watching. They definitely are a contributing element to the zombie universe as a whole. They do a good job of kind of avoiding the problem that Walking Dead has, where it gets so inundated and annoyed and continuously been like, oh, well, the people are bad, and that's what we're doing. And it's just like, it avoids that. So anyways, highly suggest. I thought they were terrific. I'm kind of glad I didn't watch it in theaters, because it would have been very expensive. As much as I enjoyed watching it, I kind of preferred watching it like outside while I was having a fire going, and like I had a drink and I could kind of just chill and enjoy it in my own time. So I don't know. It's not it's not in the theaters anymore, so you can't watch it that way anyways. But oh, I wanted to say, like, just to put in perspective how much Bone Temple made as well. So as we understand it, 28 days later, the first one made money. And then Bone Temple also cost 63 million to make and made even less and made 58 million. So it definitely, no matter how you so basically, these two movies, as great as they both are and enjoyable as they both are, were failures. They lost money. And in both of them, like, I'm not trying to be mean, but you can't, like, I don't know where the money is because they're in the wilderness and there's like 2 actors on set and there's hardly any CG. Like, there's some, but not really. It's not these big set pieces, which is kind of nice. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be mean, but part of me is like, where's the money? What the heck? And you run into this thing that Hollywood has where they spend so much money on stuff and you're just like, but where is it? What? And yeah, I feel like this is kind of that situation. I'll make a separate video about Hollywood because I'm kind of over it. But yeah, just so you know, I'm back. I'm making a commitment to just kind of get back to this. So I will be doing consistent videos and maybe even setting up a schedule and doing consistent stuff with that. But I want to let you know I love you. Love you all. I'm gonna be right now. I'm working, like for work, my normal job, but I'm in a hotel for the next 5 days. So yeah. Anyways, talk to you all. Bye.